I welcome you all in this session. In this session, we will discuss about key points of project implementation and how to write a research paper. So these are the two main key points where maximum users are getting confused that what points we should include in project implementation and how to write the research papers based on our project. Okay, so in this session we will discuss the same point. So I have merged these two topics. First, this project implementation, and second, how to write research paper. Okay, so for project implementation, in case of development of project or implementation of module wise your project. Okay, so what is expected? So in these slides we will discuss about the project implementation points as well as the presentation points, because we need to again present our research topic in front of any evaluator. Okay, so very first point is your aim. So what is mean by aim is nothing but the what is structure, or we can say what is the important key point of your project, means what you are trying to evaluate. Okay, just like I want to achieve something. Okay, so this is my aim. So just like we take one example of IoT. Okay, whereas I want to provide some automation system for agriculture sites. Okay, so my aim is to provide efficient. Okay, I provide efficient use of IoT for agriculture uh, sites. Okay, so efficient, it means what I'm trying to evolve or what I'm trying to propose. Okay, so that's we need to mention, and that must be reflect from the implementation of your project. Okay, the hypothetical sentence or as a generalized statement will not considered over here. Okay, so the aim should be the specific, and it is a center point of your project. What is the basic idea of your project is? Okay, second, after the objectives, so objective is nothing but in first video also we discussed about what objective must consist. So the objective will consist the sub part of your aim, how you are going to achieve the aim of your project. So you have to divide your aim into the several milestones, and each milestones will be of your objective. Okay, so objective is maximum of 4 to 5 objectives. The one up from 1 to 5, the fifth one will be the common for every project, that is result and validation of the project. Okay, whether you received and able to execute the code, execute the project, you will get the result as per your assumption and as per your proposed work or not. Second, problem identification. So for problem identification, we can identify the problem from the society or from the particular domain where you want to address some solution. Okay, and that problem identification will get framed in terms of problem statement. So problem statements will indicate how you are going to address that problem. Just like in communication for IoT devices and the connections between the network. So this is my one problem, and how I'm going to solve that problem by providing some kind of protocols, some kind of connections, some kind of hardware components is there. Okay, some kind of automaticity is there. Okay, so this is nothing but a specific solution to that problem. Okay, just like in normal day-to-day life, we saw that if you go to the doctor and you said that I have fever. Okay, so what doctor will do? Okay, you are giving the problem that I have fever, but how he is providing the solution? By giving some tablets or by giving some injection to you. Okay, so the problem and the solution might get a different for each problem. Okay, so which one is the more effective? Based on that, you need to draft your problem statement, and that problem statement will indicate actual your work. Okay, how you are going to achieve that goal and how to solve that problem. Next is your introduction. The introduction is basically the first part will be discuss about what is currently running in the society. Okay, means just like we have taken one example of IoT and agriculture side. So right now there are several we can say the solutions are already available, the devices which are already available, the projects which are already available. So you can discuss about that environment, discuss about that devices, discuss about that project. Okay, and what are the limitation you have observed from that projects, okay, that you need to highlight in the introduction also in second part. In first half you have to discuss about what is going on right now, and second half what challenges, what limitations you have identified. But keep a note of it, please do not give the as a use word disadvantage, because disadvantage, because of their project you are getting the idea about how you are going to improve this. So at every project, every application might have some challenges, and that challenges we can solve it with the some other solution. Okay, so these total parts will get consist in introduction part. First part will be the general introduction of existing system. Second part will be the limitation that you observe, and third part will how that problem will face and how that problem will create some issues to the society. And fourth one, you are proposing something as per as your project. Okay, so what solution you can provide to solve this limitation. So this four section must get included in the introduction part. Okay, later on the algorithm used. Okay, after that algorithm used, so we required which algorithm you are going to implement for your project. Okay, so before that introduction and in between algorithm, there is a one point, that is your literature review. So that literature review is also very much important point. So we will discuss for the review literature in next slide. Okay, so before that, again, as we know, any application, any project will not get successful until and unless there is no implementation of algorithm. Okay, so that's why every project must have the algorithm implementation, whether one algorithm, two algorithm, or integration of different algorithms or custom algorithms also. Okay, after that you have to divide your project in terms of diagrams. Okay, how you are going to represent your project in terms of diagrams or a graphical structure. So that diagrams or graphical structure which consists a block diagram of your project, or DFD flow diagram of your project, or architectural diagram of your project. Okay, so that will give the clear and brief idea about what is the structure of your project, how the input is going to be fetched, how output is going to be produced, and in between how that processing will get happens. Okay, so each and every module you have to reflect in terms of diagrams. Okay, in DFD also they have different levels: DFD level 0 diagram, DFD level 1, DFD level 2 diagrams, and in between you can in depth explain what is the process of your project. Okay, how the input is going to be processed, okay, and how you will get the actual output. Okay, so this must be get included. After that, the development and requirement software and the hardware. So as of there are multidisciplinary approach might be there. So you have worked on the only software part, you might be worked on only the hardware part, or you have the integration of software and the hardware. Okay, so in that case, what is the basic requirement which is needed for your project? You required some hardware, you required some sensors, you required some kind of servers to for storage, for you are collecting some information from any devices. Okay, you are storing it to the local system, cloud system, or through distributed system you are collecting the responses. Okay, or you have posted your project on server side, so it is accessible globally. Okay, so what is the basic requirement of your project? That must be again included over here. Okay, after that, the project deployment. So this is again correlate with the uh, development requirement. For development requirement is basically to build the project, what is requirement, software and the hardware. And for the same, the project deployment nothing but the end product where you are going to upload it. Okay, so the multiple users from the environment can use it or the access it. Okay, just like if I'm creating one website, so where should I upload it? Okay, so I have uploaded on the server of any particular domain. I will purchase some domain and I will just provide domain name to the user, so user can directly access it. just like we do with the Gmail, YouTube, WhatsApp, or Facebook and other different websites. So the logic and the code or the execution, okay, it will get happens at the server side. Only the front end interface you are going to access. Okay, then once you decided with the deployment requirement, development requirements, which algorithm you are going to use, okay, you have done with the diagram part also. Now the next part is the implementation of your project. So from here we can say the actual work of your project is going to start. So the very basic rule for implementation of any project is you can divide your project into the several modules. Okay, and each module you can also replicate in terms of your block diagram or the DFD diagram. Okay, so this is my just like in web application we can say the front end, then back end, then database, then uh, we can say the connectivity between, then algorithm implementation. So you can divide your project into the several part, and you have to make follow of each and every block, means from where to where you are taking the inputs and passing the output. Okay, and each implementation of project will get into the completion of your project at the end once you complete each and every module. Okay, after that the main part will remains, that is your testing and the debugging. Testing means before deploying that project you need to test your project whether it is working properly or not, whether whatever the logic I have implemented, whether it gives me the correct output or not. Okay, just like if I am adding 2 plus 2, so whether I am getting the output 4 or anything else. Okay, so each and everything you have to test it. We called it as a unit testing, control testing, or white testing, black box testing. There are n number of testings are there, methods are there. Okay, and after that, once you deploy your project, okay, and it is in use, okay, so if any users is received some kind of error, some kind of functionality, we can say functionality is not working properly or not getting the desired output which is expected. Okay, so in that case you have to debug your code and recompile that code and again redeploy it. Okay, so there are again different things are there. Okay, either you can debug your application at a runtime, or you can debug your application offline and then you can replace it with the deployment project like this. And finally we your conclusion. Sorry, before that there is a result and comparison. So for result and comparison we must discuss about the literature review. Okay, the literature review which consists what, literature review consists what, how you are come up with that idea. Okay, what is main need, okay, or important need of that project. Okay, then only the people will take interest in your project and they can use your project. Okay, so we have some kind of limitations with us, we have some kind of uh, discussions with us, whatever we did in literature review. Okay, based on their comparison and our result we are going to compare, and how our results are get we can say improvised or better accuracy or fast or reliable, whatever the comparison parameters are there. And based on that you can conclude that our project is really good. Okay, why? Because it is true on these different comparisons. Okay, which we have listed from the review literature. Okay, and that review literature we have discussed about the different challenges and the limitation of the existing system. And then your conclusion will comes that based on the result and the comparison we come to the conclusion that our project will gives the better accuracy, better result, faster results, or better product. Okay, instead whatever is right now available in the industry or available in the environment or society. Okay, and after that you can add some extension of your work, that in what extent you can carry on your work for the project development. In some case you can integrate another application, you can integrate another hardware, to your project, and based on that you will get the future work. Okay, and finally you have the references, whatever you have referred for your project implementation, like some websites, some articles, some white papers, some research papers, some patents, some copyrights, whatever it is. Okay, and this is how you have to present your project implementation and your PPT presentation for the project. Okay, now next part is how to write international research paper. Okay, because most of time people have a doubt that what point should I add in my paper, what uh, what points or what important things, what key features, okay, what are the sub points, okay, and how to draft it, what will the first scene or what will the first point and what will be the last point should be there. Okay, so we will see one by one. So very first thing is your abstract. Okay, and the basic practice is write your abstract at the last. Once you done with your writing paper, after that you can write your abstract. Okay, next, keywords. So these keywords will be of maximum 5. Okay, so if you have a domain of IoT, so you can enter the keywords like the communication or the sensors or the Raspberry Pi kit or other hardware name or other methodology name or algorithm name or techniques name or dataset name, whatever the key point or keyword of your project, okay, or your paper. Okay, and throughout the paper please avoid this word like I proposed, we proposed, our project, our method, okay, us, then he or she can use this application. No, you can use this word proposed work or only work or project work, like this, or in this paper we discussed. So you have to use this word instead of this I, we, our, us, he or she, etc. Okay, in introduction, as we already discussed in last point, that it must contain the detail about the existing work, what is the need of work, why, what is the limitation of that work which is existing work, and the general discussion how you are going to solve this. We are not expecting the in detail discussion about your proposed work or proposed project, but how you are highlighting the solution for that problem. Okay, so that these 3 paragraphs is expected in the introduction part. After that, this related work we called it as a existing work or literature review or survey, or there are different names for that. Okay, so for literature review, minimum 15 to 20 paper is expected for review literature, minimum. The maximum there is no limit. Okay, but all these papers which is relevant to your topic. So if your topic is of machine learning related or particular highlighting one problem, so that all the papers must relate to that topic only. Okay, no general papers which is quite introductory part of your paper, okay, or your idea, okay, which is not considered. Why? Because every paper must have some kind of implementation, some kind of either study or review or some kind of experimental setup. Then and then only you will get some um, comparative parameters for your project. And as of in previous project implementation points we have discussed this, that is result and comparison. So if you refer the paper which having experimental setups and outputs and some kind of algorithm implementation, then and then only you will have some kind of comparative parameters for your project, and based on that comparative parameters you can highlight your work and you can compare your work with them. Okay, so whatever you did in this literature review, okay, you have to place these details in tabular as well as paragraph. Okay, so how, what you have to add in this, so I will tell you one example here. Okay, so in this review literature or literature review table must contain at least these different parameters. The first parameter which consists the details of the authors or year of publication or the publisher or the title of that paper, whatever else. Okay, second column will be of your technology use. Then third column is method use or methodology used. Then algorithm used, which algorithm that all the author proposed. Then which data set they have used. Okay, some in some cases might have one data set is used by the different authors. In some cases one technique is used by the different authors. In some case they have the one technology will be used by different authors. Okay, so that might happen. Okay, so because of that reason we need to draft a table which consists all these basic parameters. Okay, next, your type of application, because it might be have a web application, it might be have a console application, it might be have the mobile application like this, because it depends on the type of your project. If your project is of Android based application or mobile based application, so you have a different parameters. If you have a machine learning based project, okay, then you have a different parameters. If you have a IoT based project, if you then you have some kind of hardware components are there. Okay, so based on that you have to categorize your table. Okay, so what parameters you should include. Okay, so next, the hardware component. If your project is required hardware component, so then definitely you must have the comparison between the existing and the your one. Then server, if it is required, if you are for development and the deployment purpose, you are using the server. Then the connectivity, for connectivity, which data set database you are using. Okay, there are n number of databases are available. Okay, so which one you are using. Okay, or what database the previous authors have proposed. Then the summary of project. Summary means what actually they did in their work. So you have to highlight in terms of 2 to 3 lines. And finally, the challenges and the discussion. And this is very important, because from this paper, what you read, okay, what you identified, that throughout the paper there is a something challenge that author might have faced. Okay, and that challenges you can take it as a uh, we can say advantage for your project. Whether are you able to provide solution to that challenge, are you provide some solution to overcome that challenge. Okay, so that challenge you have to highlight over there for their paper or their articles. And finally, the discussion. Okay, so this is how it is expected in the related work. Okay, and in tabular format also the same thing, you have to draft it in a tabular format, and according to your type of project or the domain of project, the column of comparative parameters might get changed. Okay, then finally the result generation. So your result generation must have some kind of calculation, means the mathematical calculations or some kind of graph plots. Okay, or any kind of pie charts or other kind of figures, comparative figures, some extracted figures, outcome figures. Okay, or the table of comparative tables, that we are using some xyz algorithms and we are getting the accuracy of this or time like this. Okay, so not restricted, it depends on again your type of project. What are the different comparative parameters you can evaluate. Okay, and that you can place it into the result generations. Okay, and after that the main comparison of result based on the parameters selected from the literature review. Okay, here it is the main, we can say the importance of the literature review and your results will discussion over here. And from this point it is going to be notified that you what you did. Okay, and what is your own contribution on this topic. Okay, that existing system is having xyz and you are giving some enhancement to that system or in modification of that system, that will gives the better result or better accuracy. Okay, on basis of what we are saying it, so we must have some kind of proof with us, and that proof will be from this comparison of our proposed result and the parameter uh, which are selected from the literature review. Okay, and after that parameter comparison might be in terms of discussion, in terms of paragraphs, in terms of points, in terms of differences, in terms of tables. Okay, the mode of comparison might be the different. Then analysis of the result from the discussion. And here you have to summarize, okay, summarize the comparison of your results with the existing one. Okay, how you are saying that our proposed results are better than the existing one, on the basis of what? So that discussion will be get included over here. And finally the conclusion will gives the in an actual statement of your work. What is your aim, whether you are achieve it or not. Okay, so these details will get highlighted in term conclusion. And again, there is no scope of generalized statements in the conclusion. Okay, the conclusion must be the specific and probably of a one paragraph, which consists what problem you identified, what solution you provided, and what is your output. That's it. Okay, because we have already discussed all the basic things throughout the introduction to the analysis of the result. Okay, and finally the references. Again, in references, that should be in the IEEE format or different standard format. Okay, the basically the website links or any article links will not allowed. Okay, so we will go with the IEEE format references. How to write a references, I have created one another video, and the link I will provide in the description, so you can go to that video and see how to write references in the proper format. And finally, the plagiarism report of your paper, that should be less than 12%. In some journals it may vary, it may be the 0% also or the 15% also. Okay, but the standard is saying the below 12% is expected, because of in review literature we are taking we are learning some content from the existing papers. Okay, whatever paper we have referred for our articles. Okay, the some might be your reference name, author name, methodology name, algorithm name. So that might be get come into plagiarism. Okay, so because of that reason we keep it as a 12 below 12%. Okay, so this is how we can write the literature review for the research paper, and these points should get included in your research article, so you will get some possibility of higher percentage of acceptance. Okay, so this is one sample of literature review, how you can the draft the literature review of each paper. Okay, so for example, you can propose like author XYZ in year whatever year it is, propose the which methodology, okay, what they did, okay, and what they achieved. So they achieved the great efficiency and the accuracy like this. So whatever they did in their work, okay, you have to reflect it in terms of paragraphs, and similarly in terms of tables. So how to draw the table and what are the different comparative parameters we have already discussed. Okay, and how to write a references. So references should be in the proper format. So I will provide one video link in the descriptions. Okay, so in that video I have already discussed how to extract the references from the Google Scholars directly. There is no need to write down all these things manually. So instead of that, you can directly copy paste the references from there, but that references should be in the proper format, and that proper formatting you can get it from the Google Scholars. Okay, and how to do it, I have added the video link in the description. Okay, so that's it from my video.